Alright, so I got the intake out, so now it's sort of inspection time. So we're going to take a look down there. And don't forget to undo the bolts. There's one bolt there, and there's one bolt there, and that'll release the gasket. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of antifreeze down there, and this was leaking for a while. It's all dried up there and cruddy, so we're going to have to just clean all of this up. So now what we're going to do is it's time to just clean everything up. And actually what I'm going to do too, with these bolt holes there, those are the bolt holes for the intake, is I'm just going to run a tap through them just to make sure that the bolt holes are nice and clean. The other thing I wanted to mention is some of the bolts that came out. I'll show you what they look like. Some of them don't actually look the best, as you can see. You don't want to put that back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take those to the wire wheel. We're just going to clean them all up, and then we're going to start putting it back together. Alright, and here we have the intake manifold. It is on the bench now. I've cleaned it all on top. Everywhere it's been nicely cleaned. If you turn it over, you can see underneath as well. Everywhere is cleaned, especially this area right here. Here's the area where you want to make sure it's clean because you seal for oil. There's oil in the valley there. So it's all nicely cleaned. That's important. So then this way when we reassemble it, it won't leak. So that's it. Now we're going to go take a quick look at the engine, see as I've cleaned that as well. Okay, we're going to take a quick look at the engine now. Here's the light, and as you can see, everything is very, very clean. All the mating surfaces for the gaskets are very, very clean. It's very, very important to have them clean. Just like that. That's what you want to have. That's what you're looking for. Very, very clean, so then this way there'll be no leaks anywhere later on. Now we're going to take a quick look at the gasket. Here's a gasket that actually goes on the motor. It's a steel gasket. It's got a little piece of steel on each side. If you flip it over, you're going to see it's got a little rubber seal on each side. So, as I said, it's clean there. Now, obviously, if we just put this straight down here, that rubber seal, we're going to have a major leak. So what we're going to have to do is in the valley, right in here, we're going to have to put a bead of silicone right there. It's very, very important. And you're going to want to put a bead of silicone right there as well. And then what you'll do is you'll put the gasket in and you'll torque down just the two very end bolts. Alright, I've just popped the intake gasket in. You can see there, one bolt. There's the other bolt. You can actually see the silicone coming out of it just from the side. Like I said, put a little bit of silicone on each of the corners there. So you can see we got a little bit of silicone coming out on each side there. There you go, you can see a little bit of silicone from the back. Alright, I have the lower intake manifold on and I have torqued all the bolts. There is a sequence to it. 17 foot-pounds is what you got to torque them to. And there is a sequence that you can Google just to find the sequence rather than me just explaining it. But it's all torqued down, so now I'm just going to do all the connections in reverse of what we did before, and then we're going to put the upper intake on. Alright, now we just put upper intake back on. Haven't torqued anything down yet. You can actually see the bolts, they're still loose. So I just got it in position. Put the EGR screws in. Clipped our electrical connections that are supposed to be there. Fuel lines on, vacuum lines are on. The power steering pump reservoir, it's still loose, so I haven't done that yet, but the coil is back on. So we're just moving right along, and a couple more clips, tighten up these screws, put the air box back on, and then all we have left to do is put the linkage back on, just for the throttle body, and that'll connect right here. That's these things right here. And then we're done. Alright, we're back. We got the engine all together. It's looking good. Engine's all together there. As you can see, everything's put back together nicely. What I did is I actually filled the coolant up, and then I put the pressure tester back on. Now, if you remember from the first episode, or first part, I should say, It was leaking really bad once it hit 5 pounds. Well, we pressure tested it, put 10 pounds in there, just to be safe. Don't over pressurize anything, and it is holding nicely. So leak is fixed.